Welcome back to the Corner Faster Get Fast series. We're at Lime Rock Park in the Porsche Cayman GT4 car, and we're in the middle of 50 laps to get up to speed using the iRacing simulator. This video focuses on laps 22, 3, and 4, getting off the brake pedal to turn the car in each corner. We're also going to take a look at rotating the car off of the throttle. Previously, we learned the layout, how to look ahead, use the whole track, drive at the limit, gear selection, shaping each corner, and most recently, how to get on the brake pedal to stop the car as efficiently as possible. Once we're comfortable stopping the car, shortening our brake zones, and arriving just in time to make the corner, ready to focus on getting off the pedal. We're going to take a look at the end of the 3 brake zones around the track: Big Bend, Left-hander, and West Bend, but also lifting into right-hander, brushing the brake into the uphill, and lifting into the downhill. As I mentioned, you need to be arriving at each of the brake zones with enough momentum so that if you were to turn in without any additional trail brake, you would not make the corner and would fail to hit the apex. Okay, so as we head out on track to work on our brake release, we're going to work backwards, starting from the sharpest point of the corner. We took a look at this in previous video about shaping the corner to prioritize exits, and what we want to match up is making sure we're at the slowest speed at the sharpest point of that trajectory. And at that point, we want to have enough rotation in the car so that we can line up an ideal exit. And that means being able to unwind the wheel and apply power from the sharpest point of the corner through the apex and exit. So just like with applying the brake pedal in each of the 3 brake zones around the track, initiating rotation in the 6 different places where we're looking to initiate rotation, each of those are going to vary. So the way we're going to initiate rotation into Big Bend is by carrying a long trail brake through the first apex and finally releasing and initiating a coasting period of maximum rotation just after the first apex, controlling that rotation through the second apex with throttle from there. For the left-hander, we're going to use just a little bit of brake along with increasing steering input until we get the car to essentially catch and rotate towards the inside. And what it's catching on is the camber around the apex, and that shifts into the other direction for the right-hander. It is that transition in the track that we're going to use to try to rotate the car, timing our lift as we turn in. And what that does is the same thing as braking. It shifts the weight forward. It essentially raises the relative ride height of the rear, giving more swing and lets the car get pointed up the track. For the uphill, we're going to use just a little bit of brake and carry that well past turn in so that we can negotiate the flatter portion of the track with some speed and carry that at a shallow angle into the uphill. So watch that one more time into the uphill. Carrying just a little bit of brake into a shallow angle and a bit of rotation. Our maximum point of rotation is at the apex, maybe just after in the uphill. Heading into West Bend, we're going to carry just a little bit of trail brake almost all the way to the apex, and that's because the track starts to fall away, so we want to keep some weight on the front left tire for as long as possible. That's why it's really an abbreviated coasting period if you take a look at it compared to some other corners, just pretty much right back on the gas. And then in the downhill, we're going to try to lift and get that timed rotation right in between turn-in and the first apex curb, where the grip is maximum at the bottom of the hill. So lifting the throttle as the front picks up grip is going to be the best way to point the car through the downhill. Now we have to fill in the gap. So we're going to take a look at the shape of our throttle through each of these corners. I'm sorry, the shape of our brake release. And want it to be as consistent as possible, going from maximum brake pressure down to minimum brake pressure to 0, with the goal being that you cannot tell if you are riding as a passenger when the brake pedal and brake lights are finally off. So what that does is that removes any seams that might upset the car when transitioning between the brake release and the coasting period. So where there's a very minimal coasting period for the west bend corner, there still does need to be a smooth brake release where you really can't tell the difference. It's just going to be very quickly that the throttle, well, if I hit the corner right, get back on the throttle right away. I think I carried just a little bit too much speed into that one. And that sort of brings me to my last point, which is this step takes a long time to figure out. Spent just a few laps here, but in later videos we're going to explore spending a lot of time on this particular step and the next couple steps as we're dialing in the rotation. So that's it for getting off the brake pedal at Lime Rock Park. Stick around for the next video where we get back on the gas.